Then, of course, we may have those days where it's just not appropriate to take out 8 sets of dominoes. If we have a class of 30 children, 1 set between 4. So I'd like to now introduce you to what I call student recording sheet inserts. These are simply a blackline master that you pop into a plastic sleeve and presto, you have an instant student whiteboard. What you will see from the following sequence of activities, you may like to use these either for intervention for struggling students in years 3 and 4, or you may like to use them to extend children in kindergarten or years 1 or year 2. This insert is designed to not only reconnect children with friends of 10, but to actually visually represent a number in a particular die pattern. In this case, we're looking at our friends of 10. The number sentence is written abstract, and children are doing a pictorial representation. The next insert in our sequence is to give children the pictorial representation, and they have to therefore represent it symbolically. So after we've done work familiarising children with our dominoes and friends of 10, our next task I like to call a domino train. And in this task, children pick up 2 dominoes, and we need to have 12 people on our train. In other words, 4 add-ins or 4 numbers that create a total of 12. For our struggling students, I don't move them to the written recording. It's purely just the concrete, and they create these trains on their table. The next step is then to move to the abstract, where children are actually recording what they've created in a pictorial form, as well as writing it symbolically. What you'll see from the next sequence of photographs is different stages that children move through in their written recordings. Some children will just record the total amount on each end of the domino. Some children will then move to including the addition sign. Some children will then move to using the symbol for addition. And then children will move to actually not only recording the number sentence correctly, but then displaying part whole knowledge, or what we call technically the associative property, which means we can add numbers in any particular order. What I like to get children to do is to group together friendly numbers or numbers that are nice. And in this case, we can see 4 and 1 makes 5. Adding another 5 gives us 10, and adding 2 more is 12. This particular form of recording is very important for when we move children in year 8 to Pythagoras' theorem, proving whether a triangle is right-angled or not. So that's where our learning is moving towards. Some children, however, in their recording are still working with parts of a total of 12. We can see this student here is recognising the first domino has 6, the second domino has a total of 6, and therefore I have 12 altogether. So the interesting thing when you trial this in your classroom, children will have very different ways of recording their thinking. So I would strongly recommend that you scaffold the recordings to your students, possibly by demonstrating on the board for them. What comes next? Well, after our domino train for a total of 12, we can then move to a domino train, 3 carriages, and a total of 18 people on the train. Again, start with just the concrete, making the trains. Then we can move to the pictorial, children drawing, and of course finally the abstract, doing the written recordings. Again, you will see different levels of recording from the children. You may be wondering, is there more? Of course there is. However, we must be cautious with children's written recordings in the symbolic form, and we need to check their understanding of the equal sign as meaning is the same as, rather than when they're using that to record a new line of thinking. So again, scaffolding for our students on the board. Is there more, you wonder? Of course. On this recording sheet is a lovely combination of drawing a domino and recording what 4 number facts do you see from your domino. Essentially, 4 number facts for the price of 1 visual model. Our next activity in this sequence is commonly called snakes, and in this case, each side of our snake has to form a total of 12. In other words, 3 addends that form a total of 12. For example, 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12. The sum of 4 and 0 and 8 is 12. And of course, 8 and 1 and 3 more makes 12. Again, moving students through the medium, make it, say it, write it. Our final activity in the sequence, which Year 5 and Year 6 students actually really enjoy, may be referred to as a wraparound or a square. They simply use their 4 dominoes, create a square, and each side of the domino has to make a total. In this case, I asked the children to create a total of 12. And of course, make it, say it, write it. So there you have it, a lovely sequence of activities with dominoes to move through with children, all starting at the same entry point, but depending on their ability level, where they exit. So enjoy gathering your dominoes together for your classroom, and I look forward to hearing about your implementation in the forum.